Hey, how's it going? On this episode of Home Water Dispatch, I'm next to some of my home waters, working my way downstream. It's a beautiful day down here, but it's also blistering hot, 90 plus degrees. We've got relatively low flows. And in a previous episode of Home Water Dispatch, when I was up there, we were talking about the way that water temperature influences the metabolism of fish and how we have to take into consideration dissolved oxygen and flow rates and all these other things. So we have to think about those things all bundled up together. And we also reflected on the fact that fish are ectotherms, and as water temperature goes up, their metabolism goes up. And it's actually, in sort of nerdy science speak, there's actually a very broad rule. It's called the Q10 rule, that basically says for every 10-degree increase in water temperature, a fish's metabolism on average kind of doubles. So that's kind of significant, right? So if you go from 10 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius, 10 is 50, 20 is 68 Fahrenheit, then that's a pretty big doubling in terms of metabolism. And as we learned, as metabolism goes up, fish need more oxygen to fuel the metabolic demands. They also need to eat more and all that stuff. So it's super complex and sort of all interconnected. We have to think about it kind of holistically. Well, I'm actually hopefully not spot burning really, but this little stretch is a wonderful place where I come and kind of disconnect from the world and chase some brook trout and rainbows and other things. And I'm not right now because when we angle for fish, we exercise them. We think about it as kind of forced exercise. And when a fish is being exercised, its metabolism goes up, its heart rate goes up, its respiration goes up, right? Because it needs to fuel the fight, right, at the end of your fishing line. And so if the metabolism's going up at higher water temperatures already, and then we are angling them and we're jacking up their metabolism and dissolved oxygen's lower, then we really need to take all that into consideration, especially for cold water species like trout, right? They have evolved to live in cooler water streams. And so when water temperatures really start to increase, it can have a cascading effect, not only on their biological functions, but then when we fish for them as anglers, then that adds additional stress that we have to take into consideration. If we love these fish, if we want to see a future for wild trout, then we have to sort of bundle all these considerations together. And when we want to speak up, when we want to influence our own behavior, when we want to share our knowledge with our fellow anglers or post things on social media. And that's why, so for some of you may know this, that I'm the science advisor for Keep Fish Wet. And Keep Fish Wet, thanks to us kind of really questioning a lot of numbers that get thrown out on social media about trout and temperature. Had one of my former master students do a deep dive in the literature that looked at water temperature plus trout plus exercise. So bundling all those things together. And the extent of literature and science that's gone into looking at those things combined is relatively low. But then Jamie, we did find some, Jamie did find some, extracted all that information and has sort of come up with this new idea of angling thresholds it doesn't just consider water temperature, it includes water temperature plus exercise. So rather than me rambling on about it on this episode of Home Water Dispatch, head on over to Keep Fish Wet, go look at the fin sites that Jamie wrote, that did a deep dive. It talked about the process that she went through to find those papers, to extract that science, and to really think about what it means for us as anglers. And truth be told, that lots of groups, angling groups, are throwing around 68 degrees as a cutoff for generic trout. And trout there's a lot of species-specific differences. So rather than me, again, getting into them here, we have to be a little bit wiser when it comes to the way that we think about water temperature and fish, and and including exercise. We're reflecting on it related to trout, but it also really happens to other fish species too when they get close to their upper thermal limits, and when there's other things going on like reductions in dissolved oxygen and everything else. So long story short, it's all interconnected between water temperature, dissolved oxygen, stream flows, which influence oxygen, and exercise as anglers when we're thinking about that, coupling it together with fish metabolism. So I'm going to stop rambling. I'm going to continue to work my way downstream to sort of reflect on some other things that are going on in sort of my home waters, and hopefully it resonates with you and helps you become a more informed advocate and activist for the fish you love or your home waters. Anyway, we shall see you later.